If you're about to buy a Kia EV9 or something similar to that, there's a very good reason why you shouldn't. Why this is actually a better choice for many families and many people. The Cadillac Vistiq, this thing is actually really good, guys. I've looked at the details here. It's got a feature the Tesla Cybertruck has, which I think is game-changing. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this for about a Cadillac EV, but actually it's really good. It's massive, massive interior space. Bigger interior space than a Kia EV9. The price is relatively reasonable, and it has V2G, V2X or V2H, vehicle to home. You can use this as an enormous Tesla Powerwall, essentially. Guys, this is actually a really, really nice car. I don't understand why they called it such a bizarre name. It's sort of hard to even pronounce this name, but the Cadillac Vistiq is pretty strong evidence of where Cadillac's going. They want to be an EV-only brand, and they basically are pretty much already. Cadillac was dying. I mean, literally, the car brand was dying. A lot of people thought Cadillac was finished in North America, but it's been revived with some decent electric cars. So what do we know about the Cadillac Vistiq? Here are the actual details. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. I was just in China. You're probably going. Some of you might unsubscribe. Every time I say I was in China, people do unsubscribe. But anyway, that's life, isn't it? I've got to see the new products, guys. I've got to see what's happening. I've got to be able to report to you guys on what's happening. So, you know, I can't miss that opportunity. Anyway, I was just there and I saw some Cadillacs, and guess what? They were all old school, internal combustion, boring. You know, honestly, I just saw them and went, oh yeah, just sort of, you know, there's an old Cadillac. But, you know, Cadillac are doing some pretty cool stuff in the United States. The new 2026 Cadillac Vistiq will arrive early next year, so within a few months, with a pretty high starting price of $79,000 US. But that does mean it will qualify for EV incentives because it's below the $80,000 threshold for SUVs, large SUVs. The SUV features a dual motor all-wheel drive powertrain producing 615 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. You can get more than 300 miles of range apparently on a single charge. It's not bad efficiency considering this is a pretty big, heavy car and it's not an enormous battery. So I think this could be quite a good vehicle. It's actually a 3-row luxury crossover that sits between the Cadillac Lyriq and the Escalade IQ. And it's designed to appeal to families that might have, say, 3 children, 4 children, 5 children. It has a blend of technology, luxury, and space, and it's really going to rival something like the Kia EV9. Maybe a little bit more premium than the Kia EV9, but there's not a lot of offerings in this 7-seat area right now. So I think this could be a successful vehicle. The EV9 sales this year have skyrocketed. I mean, that's the vehicle that has driven the success of the Kia brand in the United States this year. Their EV sales, particularly, have been completely driven by the EV9 success in America. So it shows you that you bring along a good 7-seat SUV and an electric one, and customers, they will buy it. Due to go into production next year, the Vistiq follows in the footsteps of the Lyriq, says Car Scoops. It has split lighting units as well as an expansive black crystal shield grille. Anyway, you can see what it looks like. I think it looks good. It's not offensive. It's not amazing looking, but it's nice. I think if you saw this drive past, no matter what country, whether that's the US, Australia, or China, I think you'd say, hey, that's a nice looking car. What is that? What is that though? That's the question. It is a little bit bland. So some people might be like, oh, what is that thing? I don't know what that is. Anyhow, I do think it's a good looking vehicle. Now, one thing that I noticed, it does have big wheels. It's got 21-inch wheels, but you can option 22 or 23-inch wheels. Now, a bit of a word of warning here. If you do option 23-inch wheels, your range will be significantly reduced. Anyhow, worth keeping that in mind. Is it really worth these massive bling wheels and expensive rubber that comes with them? Just for the looks, when you know your range will be reduced by probably about 20%. So yeah, don't do it. Anyhow, how big is it? It's 205.6 inches long. That's 5,222 millimeters, so 5.2 meters long. A bit bigger than the Kia EV9. 86.7 inches wide. It's quite wide, 2.2 meters wide. 71 inches tall, 1.8 meters tall. Wheelbase is 122 inches, which is 3.1 meters. So it's 7.1 inches longer than the Cadillac XT6 and has an extra 9.1 inches between the wheels. This is a big vehicle, probably more interior space even than something like a Toyota Land Cruiser. If you need a lot of space inside, this is going to be your best option, I would say. It has even more space inside than a Rivian R1S. So what else do we know about it? Well, honestly, the inside, it does look bling. If you love bling, it's got plenty of, screen acreage. Acreage, is that a word? Yeah. Anyway, the screen's massive, as you can see at the front. I'm not a fan of these screens. I believe that having a more square-shaped screen is a much more practical solution. The reason is because when you look at maps, right, you're looking at the road ahead of you. And if the map is going, if it's just like a skinny screen, you're only getting a little section of map. So you can only see the road ahead of you only a small distance. I've noticed this in Tesla and other cars when they have a 15-inch more square screen, you get a much, much better map. You can, if you're in a city and you're confused and you're trying to navigate, much easier for me to do that with a big square-shaped screen than these kind of horizontal, long, stretched screens. So they look good, but they're not as practical, in my opinion. My watches told me to stand up. So that's why I'm getting a buzz. Stand up, Sam, stand up. The Lyric styling continues in the cabin. It does look good. It's got a 33-inch display, but like I said, I think it's a little wide rather than actually having that good size real estate. But there is also an 8-inch command center, as well as a dual wireless smartphone charger. It's got 23 speaker sound system, apparently a really good one. Don't know if that's true, but I'm guessing it would be probably. What else do we know about it? Well, what about the range? It has a 102 kilowatt hour lithium battery. I believe it's an NMC, so nickel, cobalt, manganese battery. And that feeds a dual motor all-wheel drive system with 615 horsepower. That's 460 kilowatt and about 880 Newton meters of torque. So 650 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, that's a lot of power. And that means that even though it's 6,326 pounds, so around 2,900 kilograms, it actually can go from 0 to 100 or 0 to 96 kilometers an hour, 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.7 seconds. That's really quite fast for a vehicle that weighs 2,870 kilograms. Just a tiny bit lighter than the BYD Shark pickup truck. It's a heavy beast. So what about the range? Well, it's got a fair bit of range considering the size. It's a massive vehicle. It's got 300 miles of range. That's the EPA cycle. So it's probably a WLTP around about 320 miles, about 500 kilometers of range. It's pretty decent range. Anyway, compare the range to other vehicles. Some vehicles have more range, but they're more expensive. So, it's Apple's it's probably a pretty good value vehicle, I think, considering the size and the range. Now, apparently towing, it can tow 5,000 pounds, which is 2,270 kilograms. Towing is a little bit lacking, I think. I think it should be able to tow more than that. Now, what about the actual cargo space? It's got 15.2 cubic feet. That's 430 liters of room behind the third row. So if you've got all the rows up, both first and second rows up in the vehicle, then you get 430 liters. Now, if you bring down that last row, so you've still got 3 seats of passengers in the back and 2 in the front, then you're still going to get 1,218 liters of space. That is enormous. That's massive. This thing, if you just wanted to use it for, say, going on holidays and you've got, say, 2 or 3 kids, you'd have an enormous space to just pack that full of luggage. This thing is actually really big. If you put down all the seats at the back, you get 2,271 liters. That's 80.2 cubic feet. Yeah, massive. 43 cubic feet if you have the rear seats up. All right, what else do we know about the vehicle? Well, apparently it will have CCS as standard, which is strange. It should have NACS as standard, which is Tesla's charging system. I'm not sure why it won't, but I believe GM vehicles all have access to Tesla superchargers, so you can use an adapter. I don't think you should have to. I think it would have made more sense to have a NACS charging output, but for some reason it won't. But speaking of charging outputs, how fast can it charge? Well, apparently a DC fast charger can deliver 80 miles of range in 10 minutes. Not a lot, to be honest. AC charging is 11.5 kilowatt, and that means you can get 28.5 miles of range for every hour of charging. Now, I don't believe the DC charging actual numbers have been revealed yet, but I would assume it would be probably potentially 250 to 350 kilowatt. One of the good options with this vehicle is it will have GM Energy vehicle to home. So yes, like the Tesla Cybertruck and the Ford F-150 Lightning, you can plug this in like an enormous Tesla Powerwall to your house. If you've got solar, this could be a really good car option. Basically, this car has vehicle to grid or V2X, V2 home, whatever. They're all the same thing, but all pretty much the same thing. essentially, yeah, you can use this car to power your house if you have a blackout. So it's pretty good vehicle all in all, considering the fact that that'd be the equivalent of about 7 Tesla Powerwalls, just for a much cheaper price at around $80,000 plus the EV incentive, around $72,000 drive away potentially. I'm liking what I'm seeing. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.